I see. Papa Shay.
I'm a big old rock. There is none higher. Sucker MC, you won't be tired. Come on, my kingdom, you must see fire. I won't stop rocking till I retire.
Like a dog without a bone, an actor out alone. Riders on the storm.
And the music was good and the music was loud.
You like that shit, don't you?
That shit's intense. Look, I'm gonna put. Look, you don't know this, but my whole background's in videography.
Is it?
So you haven't seen. I've shot high-end fashion shows, bro. Like you have no clue what we gonna do when you come. Because I'll tell you right now, you've never seen what I'm capable of. I've shot for Don Murphy, SAS Bar, some people like high-end commercial stuff.
Yeah.
Like you'll see, we're gonna have fun, man. I can see this now.
I'm telling you, dude. Listen, you know. And I'm gonna start reading comments too, people chiming in and stuff. You know, one I already said right now, let's go. So yeah, we're gonna have a lot of people come in.
Good. I'm here to help, man.
So no, man, man, thanks for joining the show, man. I'll be honest with you, I have became an instant fan of all of your shit, and it's like it's really hard to find somebody with the same amount of energy and enthusiasm about their passion. You know. I never got into this dog shit for the money.
I don't know where the money's at. I tell people, you're looking in the wrong place. You think it's money. This is a passion play, man.
That's what I'm saying. And for me, man, when I started looking on social media and I'm following people and you listen to people talking, some of them put brother sleep. But I was like, wow, he's doing a lot of informative stuff. And the one about euthanizing the dog, that was deep because you know, you got a lot of plain yogurt, granola eating motherfuckers out there, and they got a problem with that. Yeah, they got a problem, like Ice Cube said in Boys, they got a problem. You got a problem here. You know what I'm saying? And it's just the topics you hit on, man, are the ones that are unspoken, and
that's why we look. I was at Super Zoo this past just in Vegas in August, August, and I tell you now, a dude said, "Hey, I don't want to bring it up as a sort of topic, but I saw the video on Bam Bam, man. I love that you did what you said. You did what you thought she was best, and like addressed it and talked about it. We had to put a Frenchie down that was senile, and nobody ever talks about it. I said, bro, it's a real thing, man. I don't know how people just don't tell the truth. You don't win every time. You got to eat your pride because I had built up this idea of Bam Bam, who's supposed to be our top dog. I said, he turned to be a bust. Now I got to put the Joker down, and there are people literally who name their dog Bam Bam because of what we do.
Yeah.
We go, I gotta live with that and put that pride aside and try to keep them educated and informed. So I'm only here for the truth, man.
You know, that's interesting because and people, just to let you guys know, this is just a precursor. I think now we're gonna be really good friends, but Joe at NWA Caney Corso and my boy Rich DeBerry at La Fundacion, we're gonna all do a podcast together. It's gonna be us, and Joe's gonna he's gonna narrate it and narrate, curate, moderate, coordinate, and we're gonna make it happen, man. But I just, you know, I can't sit idle.
No,
I can't sit idle.
No. It don't feel comfortable, man.
No. And you know, if you're passionate about something, anything, then discipline in regard. I'm always trying to figure out, like, okay, how to improve this, how to make it better, how to make it faster. Even with dog shit, like this dog stuff comes full circle, man. This is, I mean, we're so closely related to the canine species in so many ways. It's hard. I mean, it's hard for people to believe. And I remember when I watched that video about you putting down Bam Bam, I had a dog named Bo. Let me give you the background. So Bo was a dog that I bred my dog to a female that was an import from Russia.
Yeah.
I knew that the female had a screw loose because I had to displace her. First of all, I don't have no females here. I have only males, right?
Yeah.
I'm the gigolo in this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So um my thing is that is I had placed her. Okay, I got the female from a guy who is the nephew of El Chapo, right? And when El Chapo got busted again, or he broke out and got caught again, most of his family from in Pico Rivera had went to Mexico to support that situation. And in the intern, Alan called me and said, "Hey man, we need you to. I got the female for you." So I gave him $300 for a bitch that he paid $7,000 for. And the only reason why I gave him 300 is because she had mites and mains. She should have put down. She should have been put down. She had mites, mains. She had eye infection, urinary infection. She was skin and bone. But I knew that if I got her and I took her my man, Dog Man Mike, who's another pit bull guy, because he said I deal with pits, not pets.
Hey, well, I tell people, somebody, I got into I don't want to say a heated conversation, but dude was just, he said, I think it's offensive that their apartment complexes don't allow pit bulls. I said, I don't. I said, you feel that way when you are uninformed.
Yeah.
Very clear. That dog who's capable, he's not bred to be around a bunch of homies. They don't got like homies. I said, so if you're unaware of how to bring the dog up, manage it, deal with it, I don't think it should be in an apartment. Apartment ain't got enough space for what his mind's capable of doing, let alone its physicality. So I said, not all things are created to basically disposition somebody. Some things are created for even the dog's sake. But that's just, he was like, oh, I never thought of it that way. I said, have you ever owned a pit bull? And he said, no. And I do mean a real one. I said, they're not bad dogs, but they are dogs who have a lot of motive. They're very motivated.
Yeah. And so we got the female together, we got her healthy, and we bred her. She had a litter. Out of that litter, you had 7 females and 1 male. A guy locally here said, man, I want to do what you do. I want to do. It's always they want to do what I do. But they don't see all the financial disappointments, all of the disappointment, the dog's not turning out the way he's supposed to, how you have to displace the dog because he just ain't got the temperament. But they don't see the process. I always talk about the process. And still, after having a dog for a year and a half, he may not be cut out for it, right? Because you can be proven on the field in protection work, but you can't produce good dogs. And I'm talking the truth, right? It's like,
oh yeah.
And so I bred to the dog. The guy bought the male. A year and a half later, he called me and said, hey man, I need you to come get Bo, man. I'm doing a lot of work and a lot of traveling. It's like, stop the bullshit. I gave him a little money for the dog, and I bonded with him. I starved Bo like a couple of days, build a trust, let him eat out my hand. And man, about a year and a half later, man, I said, Bo got what it takes. Like, he's that dog. Like, you put him on a construction site, he ain't friends with nobody. He can't be bought. He can't be tricked.
Yeah.
And he always want to kill some shit, right? And we had got a little bond, so I thought, right? And so when I put all my boys got to go to some kind of training and get titles. It's just right. So I'm going to Donnell's place. It's called Sykes. It's at South Bay, Malinois. And I'm like, let's go ahead and start putting some work in Bo. Bo, we put him on the table. We ain't had to flank his ass at all. He knew that table work. He was all real deal. You can grab his paws and hit him or whatever. He ain't coming off that sleeve. And then he gonna put the sleeve down. He focusing on you. He ain't sleeve driven. He wants to kill. And so he knew what time of day it was when it's talking about, putting that harness on. Cause that harness is like a cape. He becomes Superman with that cape. So one time we were doing some training in Compton at another field, and I didn't notice about him. I'm a very, very I'm a very big supporter of prong collars on the right dog. And I was using the prong collar on Bo, and because we were doing a long down and doing a recall, and he kept getting up when I put him on the down, and I leave him and I walked 10 feet away. And Al was like, correct his ass, put him right back there. Boom. So I'm correcting him, right? And all of a sudden, he does this to me right here. He stiffs up at me. I'm like, why the fuck is he stiffing up like a statue? And then next thing I know, he bit my arm and he wasn't letting go. And luckily, Al was out there who was choking his ass out. And if I didn't have a hoodie on, oh, he would have got down to the white meat. So I said, okay, cool. I'm gonna let it slide this time. My boy Al was like, you should have took him around the back and just hung his ass until he almost passed the fuck out, right? But I was like, oh man. I mean, that's how you got to do sometime, but people ain't talking about that, right?
Hey, look, we've cut the camera off, and even Stan's face, the guy who helps us with our protection stuff, you look like this because you have to hold ego in them. I mean, we're talking about, and your dogs are bigger, but a 90-pound dog who's very capable of not letting go of a sleeve or a toy or a pillow. We're talking holding him up for a minute. I've got him above the ground. He's just not letting go. It's like, hey, I want an ego. I'm like, you don't want them problems.
Yeah. So we let it slide. We came back for training again, and I'm going to Sykes now because Sykes do bike work on Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's dope. The temperature's right. The dog won't overheat. It's like fucking October, November. And right when I was finna put the harness on, this nigga bites my hand and try to bite my face, and I turn around, he bit me in the back. I said, damn. This the time he supposed to be happy. He's like mad at me, like, nigga, I'm putting your harness on. It's like, okay, cool. Then he started growling at my wife when she bringing him food. And I was like, you know what? Enough is enough, because I have a son, and if this motherfucker like attacks my boy, I'm gonna put all of the bullets in his ass. You know what I'm saying? Because if it comes between my family and this dog, I'm gonna make chop suey out of this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I called Will that night. I said, Will. And all the dog guys like, man, I take him after the first incident. And then when I was trying to call him, say, man, come get this motherfucker. Crickets. Nobody returning text messages. Nobody return. I'm the type of guy, I'm gonna blow you up at least 2 or 3 times on a text message, and I'm gonna call you if I don't get a return call. You know what I'm saying? Nobody was wanting it. And I thought about it, I said, you know what? I could sell Bo, but then I'm gonna lose everything that I have. I'm gonna be on TV, LA news, 5 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Fuck all that. So I was like, he's too much of a liability, and he's too much of a dog, even for a person who knows dogs, right? So I made the executive decision. Had to euthanize him, man, because he's too much of a liability. And people don't understand that, man. And it's like, some dogs just had that devil in them that it just ain't gonna work. You ain't gonna get it out of them. They, like, some kids are born killers, and they spend most of their life in the system. And some dogs have that triple X factor where I'm gonna be cool with you that you feed me, but I'm gonna still bite your ass too. I'm loyal to nobody. Yeah. And I need balance. I need a dog I can shut it on and shut it off, and it's clear. It's got to be clear.
In the business world, there's a saying in Silicon Valley, fail fast. And another thing is you got to fire fast. So when you've been doing it for as long as you've been doing it, and I have, I don't hesitate at all to make a choice that, again, we're talking 10 years of, on average, if a dog's healthy. And then if it's senile at a young age, it's going to be senile at an old age. So I think everybody becomes a danger. And, even the one that I did a video on, I said, hey, somebody's got 24 hours to come get this dog. And what will happen is kind of like you talked about, your dog, it bit you, you say, oh, I'll let it slide. So I predicate like, oh, this dog is going to be dangerous. I saw some behaviors I'm familiar with. And then the couple called that took him, and a friend hugged the dog while he was asleep. And the dog bit the person in the face. They had to go to the face and had to go to the emergency room. I said, I told you guys. I told you he would bite. I told you that. He's defensive, which makes him dangerous. And, well, I said, look, you can come in here while Ego sleep, hug him. Zara's the craziest dog guy, and you can hug her, and she would still respond even with the growl, but she wouldn't bite you. I wouldn't put you in those positions. That nigga, I'm like, oh, he's dangerous. And if he'll bite today, well, you think he'll do an 8 or 9? He going to fuck somebody up because he ain't going to care.
Yeah.
And technically, he got away with it. So now no corrections and none of that stuff. So I'm all for doing the right thing, because we must remember they are animals.
At the end of the day, and the crazy part about it is that I see a lot of videos of, like, I saw this one video, this woman, she had to be like somewhere in Georgia or some shit, and she has these 2 powerful Rottweilers intact, and they're in the house, and they play fight, and these grown dogs, and she thinks it's cute, but these motherfuckers really are competing for affection, and she thinks they just fucking around. What happened shortly after? They locked up. And listen, I try to break up dog fights. You gonna get fucked up trying to break up a Rottweiler or any dog with a head's that big. It ain't happening. You can do all that, sticking your finger in his asshole, none of that shit. If them dogs are locked on, they ain't coming off. You're gonna lose something, you know. And
the woman we got the general from, our Jack Russell, she has a picture of she lost almost half her thumb, had to be reattached because she's breaking up 2 Jack Russells fighting. So when people say that, I'm like, look, Jack Russells don't play. So like you said, you got a 120-pound Rottweiler, and them jokers. I mean, we pulled Hera off of Cha-Cha, and Hera's a smaller dog, and Cha-Cha had a whole tooth in her head. So you think if you're not one of us who can manage these dogs at a high level and still have to watch your hands and your feet and your back and your everything else, you go, bro, I just, no. That's not our mission, at least. It's not our mission.
Yeah. I was noticing how the bully game, the Frenchie game, the micro bullies, the pocket bullies, the back pocket bullies, the bullies, and now, thank you. And now I'm noticing that, Scotland, they have banned the XL bully. And I know this is one brother, he's online and he's known for having XL bullies. I think it's called BGK Kennels. Kennels. Yeah. Really, I love his shit. He was like, it's story time, BGK Kennels. And I don't know, man. It's just that, when a dog is that impressive as far as aesthetically, and people are walking dogs on a harness in public, do you really have control of a dog that big? I don't get it. I don't get it.
No, the ban and all that stuff. Here's the thing. I have to tell niggas this too. I said, listen, y'all didn't breed this dog for health. Y'all didn't breed it for intelligence. Y'all bred it because you wanted something to look at. Now, the challenge is when it's time to fix something in a Ferrari, it costs you an arm and a leg. So in this case, there's like a Land Rover, Range Rover. When them parts go, you be like, damn, them parts kind of expensive. You putting unstable dogs into more dogs, and Mastiffs are defensive dogs. So only 2 dogs are bigger than 130, 140 pounds. Those are your Borbals and your Mastiffs. So when you go, I got an XXL bully, you go, bro, so you added a Mastiff because there is no XXL without a Mastiff in there somewhere. It don't work that way. So if we added a Mastiff, technically you made a band dog, and even worse, now you got defense with prey drive, which means somebody gonna get bit. So even people send me stuff, hey, Fit Bully, what do you think happened here? Why do you think these dogs ripped this person to shreds? I'm like, my nigga, I don't know, but I pray it's never my dogs.
Yeah.
So I can't say.
It's interesting, man, because the Doberman was genetically created to be a personal protector. I think his name is Louis Frederick Doberman. He was a tax collector, right? So back then, they was knocking on your door every month saying, it's time to pay your taxes, right? And he kept getting threatened. So he said, let me make an intimidating dog. That's why the crop theirs came into play. He put some terrier in there, Greyhound, Rottweiler, mix it all up, and he come up with the Doberman. I go to this because it's almost like people who go out there and buy these Stingrays and these V06 Corvettes, but you treat it like it has a V6 engine. I'm like, wait a minute. You get a Corvette because at some point you want to what? You want to go, right? I've had my Grand National for 20 years, and I know at some point I want to hit that bitch.
Yeah.
I want to hear that jet engine, that turbo, but then I want to cruise too. And they're getting these dogs that were bred and genetically created to be herders, compound guardians, and personal protectors. But you put them in a box, figuratively and literally, you put him in a box, in an apartment or a small house, and you treat him like he's a goddamn chihuahua. It's like,
well, they really want teddy bears. They want a dog. They want something to sit on the couch and never do nothing. That's not what the dog is. So even when you see, there's a woman here, she helps at a shelter, but she owns a daycare, and somebody will drop off. Oh, they dropped off 15 doodle pups. So when you look at even, first of all, a poodle's a working dog. When you add a Labrador, it's a working dog. When you add a Bernese Mountain Dog, it's a working dog. When you add a Golden Retriever, Golden Doodle, it's a working dog.
Yeah.
Those are working dogs. And then people be like, man, I thought this doodle was going to be easier to deal with. Now you've added height, especially if you went with the XL poodle. So you got these big ass dogs running around that actually are double the work.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yo, what do you think you was getting? Nigga, them was working dogs. Even the doodle
Yeah.
is getting a bad rap. They got the wolfhound doodle now. The Aussie doodle, Australian Shepherd's a fucking psychopath. You know, so you like, let me have a dog with high drive and then double it down with a dog who's super smart and super defensive and super reactive and super motivated and communicates with his mouth so it's chewy and be like, well, I didn't know the dog had that much energy and needed that much stimulation.
Yeah.
Bro.
And you know, the other thing too is people always ask me when they try to get dogs from me, you think the dog's gonna be a good around family? I said, well, shit, man, it's about how you fucking raise a dog. It's like you can make a Chihuahua a goddamn vicious dog.
Well, that's the thing too. I tell them, I said, let me be honest with you. Even the AKC, they have a station, right? Tell you guys go watch this for those watching. And AKC, what I love, I hate them and love them, but here's the truth. On the station, when they brought up the Fox Terrier, I watched it different times. They said the Fox Terrier is not a family dog. Your working breed dogs, can they be family dogs like he says? And I agree. 100%. They definitely gonna take some raising. But the truth is, they want to go dig up stuff. The general, he'll rat something. They want to terrorize. They want to chew. They want to talk. They like this. So you're like, hey, is it good for family? It wasn't raised. It wasn't bred for that.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
You know, it's becoming to the point where we humans, like where the dogs are generally created, they know what the dogs were generally created for. And I can really only speak for Dobermans and Rottweilers, but in general, dogs were created for a specific reason. And we humans, man, especially in the States, man, we're taking the animal instinct out of the animal. They're trying to make them like subhuman. Like, no, you can't treat these. They're animals. They're gonna react to shit. And I
Well,
go
what's
with
funny is in the humanization of animals, the problem is humans aren't good people. So
yeah,
I'd be bad confused when it's like, oh, let's humanize the dogs, but you humans aren't good people, so I'm confused. Why would a dog,
yeah,
if a dog was like you, it would have wrath, it would have envy, it would have jealousy, it would have rage, it would lack patience, it wouldn't be so kind, it would be
right,
indifferent, it would be judgmental. I
right,
said, so when you think about that humanization, don't forget about who you are.
true. So it goes to you can have because I was talking to Sykes over there in South Bay, Malinois. Shout out to Sykes and them. Um, you can have working dogs on both sides of the family, the mama, the sire, and the dam.
Yeah.
And it doesn't guarantee that the dog's going to be a rock star or even work, you know, because a lot of times, you know, all the time that working prey drive, that working intangible DNA is all genetic. My question is to you is foundation important? Because and let me lead with that question. So Sykes is now helping me with foundation work with Titus. He wants to build him up where he's making him a super duper dog where he's aggressive. He's got good bite work. He's biting from the back of the mouth. He's barking for the bite. You know, he dropped the sleeve down. He's still focused on the decoy. He's just bringing out the. He said, "I'm building King Kong," because then he puts a cap on it, right? Like now, when he turns 10 months, 11 months, 12 months, or year, we cap it. Now we got the drive to do whatever we need on the protection side. Now obedience, we're working it because to me, obedience training is really, protection training is really obedience training because we're teaching the dog how to identify what's a threat, what's not a threat, how to turn the shit on, how to turn it off. So my question is to you, when you're picking dogs for yourself and you pick out a specific dog, what are the foundations that you're doing on this animal to make him fit in your pack to do what you need him to do when he or she is an adult dog? What are the foundation things you're doing?
For those that have watched our stuff, we do a heavy puppy development from 4 to 8 weeks. I'm looking for the dog that's most curious. I'm looking for the dog that can figure things out. The one that definitely has the most drive, be it food and just small things. I like a dog who I can see like, okay, a little feisty per se, but he has an off switch. There's some dogs that I've warned people about that I've sold that, he's a little, that bitch is a little fiery. So be careful. And it end up being a great dog for the home. But I love an intelligent, driven dog. So once we get past and mind you, the least of my concern is the color side. In the bully world and the Frenchie world, everybody's selling a higher dollar color. But the facts are is like, is it a good dog? So our question is, can we make good dogs?
Oops.
Not like they don't bark or fuss. You like he's so this. I love it, but he can go here and he can go here. But he can go here and never he'll die before he quits on you. But he can also you can leave him with somebody who's 4'11" and worry about nothing going wrong. And then we're like you said, because the American bully has been so unfeng shui, meaning it's such an unbalanced dog, that we spend the first year building confidence and then working backwards to build obedience. Because if you do too much control stuff earlier, you basically fucking take away the dog's drive and confidence.
You
So
want
now
them down.
for everything that it's doing, I'm like, we don't want them problems, man.
Yeah.
So we just look for the most confident dog. We create a ton of scenarios, which you guys will watch with this upcoming litter, in situations to really see which dog was first. And I live in that damn room making hills and mountains and noodles, and we built ladders and all kinds of shit. We literally tree houses and oh man, we have a blast during the puppy time because we do it so rare and so little. And then we're gonna speed up. We'll speed up production for a year and a half, and then cut right back for 2 years because we need the dogs to develop and grow up. So every 2 years we have some good breedings that we have planned, and sometimes the plan fucks up. But just smart and intelligent and confident, man. Them two things, you can do anything with the dog.
Now, are you doing live cover, TCI, AI, or surgical when you're doing breedings?
So unfortunately, our doctor he doesn't actually have the TCI machine, but to answer your question, majority of our breedings have been TCI. Zara, I could always do an AI on, even when her numbers have been 19 or 21, and she get pregnant with a good 5 to 6. But I like a good AI personally because the machine can get up in there for the most part, especially if you get your progesterone test right. TCI, if we're in that like 1920, but I paid the $299 once, and because of the way that the canal curved, that they couldn't get where it needed to, so they couldn't drop the semen off. So I'm like, I just paid y'all $300 for half the job, and I could have done an AI for half the price. And then you turn around, we do a surgical sometimes. If we get anything shit frozen, we'll just fuck it, just do a surgical, man.
Yeah. I must have bred to at least 2,000 or 3,000 females, right? I keep a count, but I've always had 2 or 3, 4 males, right?
Sheesh.
And I stopped doing live cover only because some of these women, some of these female dogs be coming with those venereal diseases that makes my boy have a UTI. And UTI, as anybody knows, it a dog where he's putting out from 3 billion sperms to like no sperm.
Damn.
And now you got to go get that Baytril and all that medication. It's like, man, I'm done with that. So I had a conversation yesterday. My wife had an awards event. That's why I couldn't talk to you. I was texting you so much, right? And this woman called me and she said, I want to do a breeding. Her numbers are at 12 or 13. I said, she's about right. So she had a progesterone test done. I said, you know what? She's optimal. We can do this. Tomorrow, which would be today, we'll go to the SoCal Canine Clinic. We'll do the extraction and we'll do the TCI. She said, no, I want to do live cover. That's scary to me. It's like, that's almost like me having sex with a female for the first time. I was like, well, hold on, let me get my condom. She said, no, why you want to use a condom? I'm scared of that shit. Like, yo, dog, I'm strapping this shit up. A responsible woman, like, no, you're going to strap that shit up, motherfucker.
Yeah, I would tell people a lot of times, don't cut costs either. I've been around when they do breedings with the police department, literally the police officer who owns the $50,000 dog who have to report. But even what they love about AIs is some of those Malinois and Shepherds can get stuck together for 10, 15 minutes. Imagine getting a call and your dogs are stuck together and they're on site, and that's part of some of the agreements. So it's just an easier way to keep everyone safe.
Yeah.
As we talked about, reduce the risk of any bacteria or any other issues, It looks in their minds. People think dogs have sex the way humans do for pleasure.
Right.
That's not how it goes, man. A female's cycle or female's system is shut down for almost 180 days at a time, which is why no dog buys her. It's called anastrus. Once the system gets going, then everybody like fired up. They're like, woo, woo, it's that time, buddy. but
Yeah.
they're still not thinking about pleasure. They're literally thinking about just a job that needs to get done. Like, oh, she's putting out pheromones and all the stuff that says she's ready to be bred. Let's go over here and do the right thing.
Yeah. And so she was like, we almost got, I'm very short and curt and sometimes a little bit brusque. I'm not belligerent at all, but I can be garrulous when I have to be to explain my point to her. And I was talking to her while, first of all, we was at this hotel at Sheraton. The fucking AC wasn't working well at these high-end hotels yesterday because we had a heat spell yesterday and we had one today. But so I was telling, I said, listen, I'm not going to do live cover. I said, you can find somebody else. I'm not taking a chance. She said, well, my dog ain't never been bred, but that don't mean she ain't setting her own shit or her own piss. I'm like, I'm not doing it. I said, find somebody else. I said, listen, back in the day, I used to use the breeding stand and put the coconut oil back there, let my boy do his thing, but it's less stress. I asked her, I said, listen, you think your female who's never met my dog is going to let a strange ass dog get on top of him? And she cool with it. No. She said, well, don't I leave the dog to your house? I said, no, I don't want your dog, something happened to your dog, come up dead or missing, and you on me. I said, no, what we got to do takes 15 minutes. We can meet at the vet. We can have your girl there as the fluffer, do the goddamn evaluation of the sperm count, the motility rate, and make it happen. But I'm not doing all this live cover, and I don't know your dog. So it's like, it's really the surgicals and the TCI is how the professional breeders of the different race do it. They don't do all that. Yeah, let my dog get screwed. No, they do it like yo, we're gonna go to the vet. We're gonna get the progesterone test done again before we do the extraction and make it happen. And it's less stress. But I'm not gonna get bullied and punked. Like I want to do live cover. Don't do it.
Yeah. No, I'm with you 100%, man. I used to think that was cool too until you just learn more. I mean, lack of education will do anybody in. And so when you don't know, you don't really know to do better. Every dog with so much drive that he shakes when he's ready to work. Yeah. That's a true thing too. But yeah, I would always recommend going the medical route and getting it done for the purposes of preserving the dog, preserving the stress, and then making sure you get the data. Data-driven decisions are how you actually build something special. And saying you got a dog that produces is cool, knowing your dog can produce, and then having those markers, because I know some people right now struggling who sold more semen than their dog can produce. And some of those dogs wasn't ready. So imagine selling some semen and the dog's numbers drop below 100 billion or 100,000.
Yeah.
And now you're trying to figure out how to fulfill this thing, because otherwise you have to sell your house to get that money back. Like I've seen it all.
Yeah.
And so less risk, more reward when
Yeah.
there are just the data there to support that, man.
Now, when people come to you to buy a bully, what are they specifically like? Like my client, I can truly say that 90% of them, they love the idea that they have a Doberman that has the ability or the potential to work, but they don't work them.
Exactly.
So your clients are geared towards, we want a pet that can be a pet, but also be able to have instinctive characteristics to kick in to be a pet.
I definitely breed more towards the terrier side of the American Bully, and they do come with wanting a good family dog, and I think some of it's based in two things. Some people were like, yo, I want to build off of the things that you've worked on in terms of health. Others are like, I want a dog that acts like Tron and Ego and Cha-Cha, and it's like, that's not reality. My job is to build a Apple computer, make sure it's gorgeous per se, and it's healthy and it works, right? Apples just fucking work. And then if they enter certain programs, they can bring said things out in the dog. If you don't, believe it or not, no dog is going to do what our dogs do if it's not shown exactly what to do and practice habits. So we love pet homes because I love just to see from a health standpoint how long our dogs can live. And I do understand people's interest in buying the Maserati, if you would, and saying, look at me. I actually don't have that, which is why I named Ego my first one that'll come back in, Ego. It's like I don't have an ego, believe it or not. I just love information and I hate stupidity. So we love putting them in pet homes. I tell everyone who gets a dog, make sure, depending on which female we have it come from, especially like Czar, it needs to see everybody that is gonna like the first year. Because if it doesn't, you're gonna have problems people coming in and out of your home. because the protective instinct is there. The barking's there, potentially them reacting is there unless you've worked through these things. So I don't actually recommend, and even my uncle called last night, he says, man, Trev, we got to get you in some videos with some kids, your dogs. I said, let me be very clear. I've never told anybody my dogs are good with kids. I said, Ego can put up with them, Zara hates them, and I don't trust the rest of them around them. And I said, mainly because they play too rough. So this ain't that. But I said, look, man, you're not gonna like it. I'll listen to the majority of your marketing shit up, but when it comes to kids, that's where this ends. Like I'm not gonna tell you they're gonna kill a kid. What I'm gonna tell you is there's a 3-year-old that walked past him, but I've watched Zara's behavior around kids. She don't like them, and I don't
Yeah.
like them either. I don't even like kids. I tell people I don't like them motherfuckers. So,
And you know, and the thing is, the adults are not teaching their kids how to approach a dog. It's amazing, man. Like, you know, people walk up to your dog as if they known them dogs for like 10 years. It's like that. It's like when you wonder why you get bit in the face or your hand get bit. It's like it's a way to approach an animal. Don't approach. Act and you approach the dog.
no, but you speaking my language, man. I don't know why people think it's fun to, hey, can I pet your dog? Or hey, can my dog say hi? I'm like, no. If your dog thinks it's tough, if she'll flip the switch, something awful gonna happen, man. She don't play like that. And she actually has good patience. Zara does. But like that kid, them hawks come up, she jumps back when he hears a high pitch. I said, no, no, and no. I didn't breed dogs for the sake of fucking kids. Now,
Yeah.
when they protect kids, if they're puppies and you like, oh yeah, you got a great dog in that regard. But my personal dogs ain't gonna be no kitty videos like that, man. And even when Ego, the dude, little PDK9 cat, you know, he brought his 3-year-old over here, and Eagle's like knocking him over on accident because he's just like licking him and he's too rough.
Yeah.
I'm like, and trying to been accidentally just jumped over his head and kicked him in his eye. I mean, it just was like, no, this is a bad idea, man. So we love pet homes, to be clear, because I tell people I know how to market and create buzz. And so I need dogs that I was raised with dogs doing this kind of stuff. I said, guys, this isn't me guessing. This is what we did for 15 years damn near. I said, so now it's like, well, if you get a dog, just keep it chill. But there's a group of people who want to push the dogs, and some people have gone as far as building everything they saw us build. Some people got treadmills, and I ain't even got a dog tread, but there should be videos of like a dog we sold him on a trail. I said, damn boy, you all in. He said, man, I want to keep it going, man. I love what you do. I said, damn, that's crazy. I'm about to buy a treadmill now just because you got one.
Yeah, my boy made my treadmill for me, the wooden slate or slat treadmill.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful because I'm like, I tell people this all the time. I said, listen, there's 2 things I'm always going to have in my life: a hybrid vehicle and a dog. You can't go wrong with having both of those, you know.
No,
and I used to, and I tell the story almost all the time when I get online. I said I used to, and this is before I had a dog. I used to see a lot of people like cry when their dogs die, like, oh, I can't believe it. I'm like, oh my God. And I was like, get another fucking dog. And then my life changed when I was going through a divorce. I was able to get my first dog because my ex-wife, or soon to be ex-wife at that time, didn't want animals in the house. I'm talking about, you grew up in Belize. You used to fucking wild dogs, turkeys, and all that shit with dirt roads. Like, how you tripping on a dog? I'm talking about a pedigree dog at that. And as soon as she moved out and moved back into her own house, I got me a dog. And I was going through depression in 2010, recession in 2010, and a divorce in 2010. And my mother had passed away at the beginning of 2012, but she had already hit a situation where she was about to check out at some point. And I'm like, you talking about a guy, I would have the same clothes on like for 3 days, watching Dateline ID and Lester Holt and Forensic Files, and I watched every episode. And then I bought the dog. And you know what he made me do when I picked him up from the LX airport, coming from Russia? He made me go outside. I started smelling the air. I started seeing the sun, and it was me and him. That was it. And back then, I had to file BK to stop foreclosure, right? And he was about 9 or 10 months by that time. I was like, this motherfucker got to help contribute to the household because, you know, my child support was still due. no matter what, you still got to pay that money, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I gotta get my lights on. I gotta have this AC cracking for me and the dog. So I started breeding them. I breed them 3-4 times a month, and that's about $2,000-$4,000, depending on who it is and what it is. I'm like, this boy is helping me out in more ways than one. And then I got on my feet, got my shit together, because brother like me and you, when we up against the wall, we're gonna figure this shit out. You can't corner me and I stay in the corner. I'm gonna figure out how to, there's two type of people in this world: those that make things happen and those that watch things happen.
Yeah.
I make shit happen, right? You're either gonna ball or fall, right? Because the mortgage is still due, the child support still due, you still gotta eat, you still gotta drink water. I was like, I'm gonna make something happen. Got on my feet, and me and this dog put me on the map. And it was like, from that point, when he got cancer 10 years later in 2019, then I realized, like, you know what, man, I know what they're talking about, because dogs do one of many things that humans cannot do. That one thing that I'm talking about is they're consistent. And I'm talking about, am I right? Think about it. Listen, check this out. I could be gone 2 hours, 2 days, 2 years, 2 months, and my dog gonna still run to that damn gate as if I just left two minutes ago.
Yeah. No.
How many humans your own mama can't even be consistent. She has her bad days. And when my dog don't come to my gate with that tail like this, something's physically wrong with him. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know too many humans that could be consistent at any fucking thing.
Right.
And so when they, ask me many times, I say, man, what do you like so much about dogs? Because I don't like you. I'm not even like, I'm like, I'm not a friend. I tell people, I'm not a fucking friendly puppy or nothing, man.
Yeah.
I don't even want to be friendly. I'm like, I want to get to the point, get this over with, move on, so we don't ever have to speak again. I literally, even on our paperwork, I don't even put my kennel name. I don't give a shit if you fucking think that you can tell people you created this dog for all I give a shit. If that's the lie or whatever story you want to create, I care about the dogs that we have, and I, of course, don't want no dog to end up in a bad place unless I got to put him there. But there is no thing on this earth that's more consistent than an animal. And it's crazy, as you said, when you get older and you start getting a little even set in your ways, you find more peace with pets than you do with people, because people ain't shit.
You know what's funny? I was talking to Ben at Country Mountain Masters. He's out in New York. And I think it's Amsterdam, New York. Didn't even hear fucking Amsterdam until he told me about it. The way he sells his puppies is that the people have to fly in and check out the puppies. If the puppies have a distance, a physical distance, and they're not welcoming to that person, Ben doesn't sell the dog to him. It's like, my puppy has to come to you and want to be with you. If he's standoffish on you, he ain't letting it go. And none of his dogs are like skittish. He got Ben, you check him out, man. He's got all these male dogs and these female dogs all eating together. And I'm talking about raw chicken. You know how sometimes I can't feed all my males and throwing a box of chicken out there and let them be peaceful. It ain't happening.
People always ask me all the time, why your dogs eat in the cage? To keep the peace, my nigga.
Yes.
To keep the peace, my nigga.
Facts. But Ben at Country Mountain Masters on TikTok, he's able to get them motherfuckers where the puppies get to eat first and the males sit back. We talking about dogs that are 250 pounds, like they're peeled. They're not fat, right? And they have they know decorum. They know who eats first, and nobody's fighting. And my thing is that he's thinking outside the matrix, man. This motherfucker's like, he's all about, he's in tune with his animals. He knows when he knows what his dogs are tripping out. This motherfucker can eat a whole plate of pizza in front of all of them, and them dogs ain't coming up to that table while he's eating. They know to stay in the back while he's eating. Me, I can't put no wing stops in front of me without one of them scooting closer and closer and closer to me, right? But it's amazing, man, how I see how people have deity in animals more so than humans, because you're right, man. It's somebody said it best, man. Dogs don't know how to be fake, and that's fucking real deal, man.
Yeah,
fucking
man.
real deal.
That is definitely true, man. And again, it keeps the peace. It keeps the peace very much so in one's mind and body. You know, everything going back, you come back. Even the service part of you, there's a service component I think we all possess if you are truly human. And so you start enjoying, you know, letting them out and providing the walks. And for me, it's
Yeah.
preparing food and making sure that they're good and watching them enjoy their food and just enjoy life. You go, okay, okay, we've done something right here. And that's kind of where I, you know, especially as I get older, you go, man, I just want to be focused and I like the peace. You know, you get to a certain stage, you just want quiet. I don't want nobody interrupting me or bothering me or harassing me, none of that stuff.
And you know, having animals, man. You know, I was telling us off air, having animals, it gives me purpose, but it also like it gives me structure,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah, and because you can't never travel out of town without knowing how the dog's gonna be taken care of. You
Oh yeah.
can't go out of the country without knowing how long the dog's gonna be. You know, and it's like your life revolves around these animals, and I'm okay with that shit. I'm okay with it, you know, because I always say, man, like it's a process. And if you're looking to make easy money quick and you're trying to make the dogs be a breadwinner or have the dogs be a source of income, you're in the wrong game, dog. I mean, I know a lot of these cats out here, they're into Dobies and now they're into Frenchies too. And they're only into Frenchies, dog, because of the money or how people are getting fucking spooked. Like, oh man, I made $10,000 on this dog. Well, you probably only had 2 puppies. You got to spend about a couple of grand to get to that point. You can't do live cover. You can't have a natural birth. It's bananas, man. They get in for the money, and then all of a sudden they fall off.
I always tell people this, and for ones that hit me up, I said, could you see yourself running a Chipotle, a Chick-fil-A, or I'll just, you know, first you want to edify them by saying, you know, what's your favorite restaurant? I said, could you ever see yourself running and managing 143 people on average? And, you know, having lost in profit having to look at your balance sheet, all that stuff. And, well, I don't know what you're talking about. You go, if you can't see yourself running to McDonald's, and don't run into this space and think you're going to run up a check and get rich. All that ignorance online will have you confused and lost, because the reality of it is it all starts with the loss. There is no your barrier to entry into any market is you operating at a loss. If you don't understand that, I said you're already fucked. When you put a building on the ground, it costs you $800,000 to use a Chipotle title. You put Chipotle on a building, that's 800 bands, not including rent for the franchise fee. Now you got to pay rent every month, so you got to do a certain amount of burritos per square foot in terms of how big the space is. I said, so if you don't know those things, do not presume some dog is going to pay your bills for life. Stop playing with me. And so, every dog you bring in increases your bottom line because they require care. I said, you don't know. I said, look, don't worry about it, buddy. But don't ask me how to start, because we still just starting. I said, people don't know this is my 3rd time coming back to the dog space, man. I've had 3 rounds of 5 dogs and never finished. I said, this is the first time in 15 years, literally, that I've done it and believed that this was the best path to go through. And I didn't come in with money. I looked at once you learn about M&A, people, for those that don't know what it's called, mergers and acquisitions, Goldman Sachs, all your really wealthy people that some people will never meet, all they do is money's not real. You get around super wealthy people, it's never about a fucking dollar. That shit ain't real to them. What you have access to, all your assets, and how those things are managed and how you can move them around, that's chess. Not you telling me, oh, I got $10,000. Get your stupid ass out of my face. So when I learned about mergers and acquisitions, and I spent some time with an M&A guy, I go, oh, that's how this works. That's why y'all so damn rich. Y'all own all the ground, all the land. You own the fucking you own everything. So you can move anything at any moment in time because you have assets to weigh things around. So if you do need money, you can go pull from whatever. I said, they never going to figure this out. They never going to figure this out. No wonder. I said, so let me use ego as an asset. I'm going to build out a whole profile. He's going to get me this mini audience. And he did. Then the next dog and the next dog. And now the formula. So I'm like, I know exactly how much the page is going to grow every time we have a litter, just because I know what to do.
Now, do you have a waiting list every time?
We have over 2,000 people waiting on the waiting list right now. There are 4 people. I only take 4 deposits a year. There are 4 people who've been waiting for 2 years who sent no less than $500 and who are on the line. And that's just me like, yo, I can pay back 2,000. I ain't giving 20, 30,000 back. I don't even need the money. So you go, these people I know are dead serious because they don't even bother me. They just like, hey, once a year they'd be like checking in. How's the breeding going? Where are we at? I want to get on quick. Boom. But we shut it down, to be clear. There were so many people from I'll be out the military 2028 because they don't find enough of us telling the truth. So what's happened now, the market is super saturated. So saturation's there, people. You know what economy of scale is? Economy of scale is like back in the day, Blu-rays used to be 500. You can get one for 20 bucks now, right? Why? Because they've been normalized. In this case, you can get a fluffy L4 double coated carrier with a rope for $500 right now if you want it, because everybody got access. And they too thought, well, I'm gonna buy this fluffy for $20,000. I'm gonna sell every puppy for $20,000. Then they realized they can sell a nigga for $200. So the genes is what they sell in the refrigerator. Now everybody got access to the genetic information. The price got to come down because I can pay the nigga around the corner the same price. So when we looked at our waiting list, we go, what's the reality of us ever creating 200 dogs? In 3 years, we did 24.
Yeah.
It ain't real. So I'm like, yo, shut the thing off, because these are people, I'm telling you their stories. Like, these aren't just like, oh, let me sign. They're like, oh, I got to 144 screenshots, and I can tell you every one of those fucking people are dead serious about getting a fit bullet. I go, oh, fucked. I'm fucked. I said, guys, create a link. So we create the link. In less than 30 days, there's 2,000 people signed up. You go, oh, fuck. This is even worse than I thought.
That's crazy. That's crazy. You know, the interesting thing about what you were saying is that, like, my uncle, almost 30 years ago, he was in the process of buying a McDonald's. Now, in order to be a McDonald's, you have to be sponsored. That means that somebody who already is a McDonald's owner has to bring you in. It's like a men's only club, right? You have to have like this is 30 something years ago. You have to have like 1.1 or 1.5 million liquidity. You had to prove you had it, and then you had to be sponsored. That means somebody who already is a franchisee bring you in as a referral. And the interesting part about that whole process, when people who want to be breeders and they think it's all ice cream with no bullshit involved, the process to be a franchise owner, you have to learn how to cook the French fries. You got to learn how to filter the grease, because that same grease is being used for chicken nuggets. It's being used for the fish fillet and used for the chicken sandwich. So you got to filter the grease. You got to know how to clean up the kitchen, clean the grill. You got to learn how to wash the dishes, use the machine. You got to know how to do the drive-through. You got to learn how to operate the machine. You got to know how to service clients. You got to learn from the front to the back. People nowadays, man, they want like from first base to third base. They don't want to have to go around bases and then get thrown out and come back again and try it again. They want immediate gratification. And unfortunately, man, it's like, this is what's fucking up the breeding process with most Dolby owners, is because they want quick fixes. And I'm glad CDC, man, in so many ways put that restriction now where you can't import animals that are less than 6 months of age. Because now you got to be self-contained. You got to be able to hold it. It's got to be like COVID time now. You got to have everything underneath the fucking roof that you got, that you need. And it's amazing, man, because every time I breed with somebody with a quality female, they usually have a waiting list after the fact, because my boys are proven right now. Yeah. I can breed them to a decent Euro bitch, and the puppy's still gonna come out decent.
Yeah.
Now, are they gonna work? Depending on the genetics, depending on which one you're picking, etc. There are no guarantees in this game. But I will say this, is that I try to sustain a reputation of having good shit. Now, outside of that, I ain't got no control of it. But it's to the point now where, you know, like for you, I deal with breeders like you. Like I deal with breeders who only breed 2 or 3 times a year, and they got a waiting list. It's almost like going to a soul food restaurant.
I didn't even want to, but then what happened was, is the pressure got too much because you know how niggas start itching. Hey man,
Yeah.
I need that dog. You be like, stop playing with me, Charlamagne. You don't need a dog, bro. You have no business plan. You have no life goals. A dog is not gonna solve your problems if you've not paid attention to the responsibility that I put on myself. Then you turn around and be like, you can't afford what I do, and I do it for like it's like 9 dogs out there. You go, then don't pretend like you need a dog. Don't tell yourself that lie. This is a huge responsibility. And every time I leave town, which is almost once a month, like you said, 7 dogs out in this house right now. Somebody got to come watch and feed these motherfuckers. And there ain't no kibble in this house. So you turn around, you go, stop playing with me. So I did it because it was stress. It stresses me out. People don't know this. I got a lot of anxiety, man, and social media stresses me out because you don't even have call to actions. I said, we're going to start something now because I'm building these infrastructures. But these niggas be hitting me up like I'm fucking Dr. Seppi or God. I'm like, my man, I told you I'm reading out the book trying to learn myself. But here's the other truth. Just keep taking care of your dog and read, do your research. But I had to create this thing as far as the waiting list because even now, they seen them puppies that we bought. They like, oh, I'm like, bro, they losing their shit. Because they like, I would do anything. I'm like, man, don't, bro. Just find you a chihuahua or something. Take care of it. You need one of these Negroes.
It's interesting, man, because you try to like do the best you can, and there's always gonna be some haters out there, bro. I mean, and I've had a couple of haters where, unfortunately, I'm not built where I can just let people talk shit and take it on the chin. I can't do it. I'm gonna listen. My boy, one of my frat brothers, was like, "Yo, Gerald, I saw one of your podcasts. He said, don't go back and forth with him." And I'm like, "Shit, man, this motherfucker's talking the shit." I mean, I'm getting hate like I'm getting hate like, why are you cropping the dog? Why are you docking the tail? That's so cruel.
No, but look, I told Richard this. Because Richard called me time he was hot one time, especially after we had did certain videos and we both added value to each other's platforms. I said, Richard, just remember this, and this is why I tell my guys too, the comments weren't in the business plan. I said, so at the end of the day, the more they communicate and talk to themselves, I said, the more that video get ran up. But they say, Trevor, you don't reply to comments, and I just be like this. I didn't write it in the business plan. I'm not going to get to $1 billion commenting and speaking with people who have 6th grade educations, lack comprehensive skills. It's like a kid raising his hand or talking out of turn. He raised his hand. Nobody asked him a question. So I respect the hate because I don't see it. And what's crazy is when I go to dog shows, people will message me. They're like, damn, Trev, them niggas all hate you. Such. I said, who? And they be like, all the niggas, they be on talking bad shit about you. I said, I felt nothing but love. They be like this. They didn't took pictures with me, nigga. Pitbull, is that you? I'm like, I only went one time. You asked Richard to support him, and motherfuckers was taking pictures. I said, listen, I don't go because I'm trying. Like they know I don't even go to dog shows. I hate them fucking things. It ain't my thing. But when I go, even at the ABKC Nationals I went to, a buddy asked me to help shoot his dogs at the show, so I went and helped him. Over 50 grown folks stopped to take pictures, and I'm holding the camera the whole time. They're like, I can't believe you're here. I'm like this. Who, nigga? I'm here to help the homie, bro. So they're like, bro, I just love you. You like, oh, it's all love, huh? This is crazy. But I don't engage only because kind of like you said, you've got investments, you've got family, you've got like even supporting the wife the other day. We're building infrastructurally things that will make sense long term. So I have to tell Richard and them, I say, listen, Nike can't got time to reply to comments. I said, so if you believe you're a billionaire, live in a billion. There's always gonna be somebody arguing and mad about what you do. Even I addressed the cropping thing one time, right? And I said I did a video, it went crazy, but I just like, hey, let's get this out the way. You guys are worried about cropping, and I know it's because I'm black, and that threw them off. Oh, it's not. I said because if it's the boxer, they get their ears cropped, nobody says nothing. If it's the Doberman, they don't say. I said the Great Dane can get its ears cropped. Nobody really say nothing. I said, why does it matter? It's our dog. This is what people want. It's an aesthetic, and sometimes can reduce the risk of ear mites. But you're only asking because you think I'm going to take the dog out and fight it. Let me be very clear. These dogs cost too fucking much to be fighting. I ain't fighting shit. These niggas better go somewhere and lay down. So I said, get it out of your system. Get the fuck over it and then move on. Because people are like, I can't believe you're posting the dogs doing stuff with their stitches. And I'm like, well, fuck, they just climbed over the hill, climbed up the ladder, climbed up the fucking stairs we built. What you mean? Why I'm supposed to wait? I said, "Nigga, I don't give a shit what them niggas talking about. If they got something to complain. Every comment keeps it relevant, stays in the Discover page. Discover page means the views is going up. Now they arguing, and what they don't know, I'm on this phone, but on the phone that's our content phone that I'm on right now, there's 40 drafts. So every day we shoot almost 21 videos just on the phone alone. These niggas, when they see it, I'm already 20 videos ahead. I kid you not. So I'm like, what we even talking about? They talking about some shit happened 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Stop
So
playing.
you know what I tell them, and I'm like you. I'm always like one chapter here. You know how you was in school? They said read this chapter, and for next week, I'm already on the second chapter, right?
Yeah.
So what I do to shut that bullshit down, and I hear crickets after that. I say, you know what? You're right. It is cruel to cut the dog's ears. It is cruel to doctor tell. Yes, I get it. I say, you know what? But you should hate your mother too. And they said, why? I said, your mother circumcised you when you was less than 2 days old. It served no purpose. Did you take pain meds at 2 days of age? I said, let's take another step further. How about this? You get in your mama had your little sister ears pierced. There was no reason for that. There was no pain meds. And that shuts it down. I'm like, yo, the same dude you're married to has a circumcised dick. I said, ain't nobody talking shit about that. But it's cruel and unusual.
No, and that part right there, man. Again, you're speaking my language, man. I love that, we're synergistically speaking, we're on the same path. This is why I'm even very selective, with who I talk to, because I want the intent to be clear. I don't want to, I tell people, I don't talk to nobody arguing about nobody. And I don't discuss, what no other man's doing in their program. Hey, man, what do you think about? I'm like, bro, I don't know. I don't watch that nigga shit. It's not personal. I don't watch Jamarcus. If you look at my thing right now, I never watch Jamarcus' stuff, and he's with me 7 days a week shooting all my shit. So, it's not personal. It's just like, bro, you got shit to do. I got shit to do. Here's his task. Here's my task. I'm on the phone half the day working with dogs, the other half of the day building whiskey stuff, man. I'm like, stop playing, bro. Hey, by the way, do you drink whiskey?
No, but I pretend I drink whiskey on a commercial. No, I don't drink. Listen, I don't drink no alcohol. But I do have an addiction that I've been working on. Sweets. I love fucking cakes, pies, Twinkies, fucking cookies. That's probably worse than goddamn whiskey.
It is. But I'm only saying that because we'll talk about something else when you come back up this way. I've got something I think we can put together and bring some people out coming in that I'm gonna promote it for the next 3 weeks, but it'll be at a place called the Whiskey Blendery.
Yeah, I fuck with it because when I come out to Dallas, I usually go to the International Cigar. I'm always kicking it up there. Well, I do cigars.
Well, we'll figure something out, man. I'm gonna try to bring some people out. We'll figure something out. But yeah. I mean, you're speaking my language, man. And again, even when we start talking businesses, how those things align, it's going to be more conversation about progress and how to do things right and providing people the information. Because again, we need good breeders long term. Whether you hate a breeder or love a breeder, you need good breeders because then the vets won't have no business. So in this case, there's a few of them out there that really take care of the dogs and try to do right by the dog and stick to the standard of the dog and try to honor the integrity of the dog and why it was created. So I tell people I don't know them, the right breed are all the breeders, but I know people who care enough to try to, give the people the information to do the best they can. And then we try to lead the charge as well with people like yourself. So whoever's watching, man, definitely stay and be encouraged. And I do hope that some of this stuff helps because this is one of probably 100 motherfuckers we're going to do.
You know what's interesting, man, is that we talk about dogs, but it's really all about, like each one teach one. You know what I'm saying? And I have no problem dropping nuggets and knowledge to people who really are genuine and want to know. And one thing we don't do as a race, as a community, is we don't give the recipe. Listen, I will tell people.
Here's the argument, though. I don't know if we know the recipe. Sometimes there's one person that does it, but here's the truth. Do we actually know the recipe? Because you found out how to be successful in your 50s, right? And I've been blessed to be around white people who've made $3,600 an hour, owning 90 hospitals. What was the recipe? My dad did 7 years in a level 5 prison. I spent every other weekend from 5 years old to 7th grade visiting him at Cameron, Missouri. And then my mom made $4 at one job working at Cracker Barrel, another at $5.15 working at KinderCare. So what was the formula outside of disparity and uncertainty? So now I think when people like me and you start finding the formula, that's why we become so valuable, because there is no path to follow where it's true to like value and asset management and dogs. Because if I literally look, I kid you not, people, I tried to find me online. Where can I find me? Because I'll invest in that nigga and run the business.
Yeah.
I'm really good at that.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, nobody else gonna be able to do this. I'm gonna have to do this. It's
And-
like in the movie American Pimp, when he says, damn, I got to do this.
You know what's interesting? What's interesting is that me and you are in a place now where we are not a one-trick pony.
Yeah, no, God knows.
Right. And I am trying to, I would say, master everything that I'm involved in, whether it's real estate, whether it's the fire investigations, whether it's the insurance inspections, whether it's property management, whether it's rental income, whether it's dogs, breeding, consultation, all that shit, right? So now I'm finally at a stage in my life where I know if one of the wheels fall off, I still can be able to provide for me and my family. Like money won't be an issue. You know, it will never be, well, how I'm going to pay my mortgage this month. I'm going to make a way, because now we figured out the process by being around people who are like-minded, the process of making money, right? And you got to be around people who have this. You can't be a crab in the barrel. You can't be with people who don't want to learn. You can't be the smartest motherfucker in the circle either. You got to be around people that are willing to open up the pages and say, hey, this is how I did it. This is what you should try, and trust them. Because my real estate endeavors were all based around my Jewish friends, and them motherfuckers don't sell nothing. They own the land. Listen, they own the land that the gas station sit on, that, and they have, and then the gas station pays them rent. And when they stop paying rent, the building's theirs because it's on their land. You know, they don't sell shit. And if they do sell property, they're doing a 1031 exchange. They buying something and getting it bigger.
Man, say, look, you are you're speaking my language, man. And you know, people with that is called as modeling. And Mark Cuban and those guys will tell you, you listen to their stuff, and it's simple as this. Once you figure out your business model and a model in general, you can scale that model and take it into any other thing.
Yeah.
The problem is you don't know step one of the model. And that goes into setting up a business, proper structures of business, having proper accounting, taxes, and then, as you said, are, you know, even in the whiskey business, am I going to build a brand or am I going to build a distillery? Well, brands are a big business, and even in the dog space, do I build stud services? Do I become a puppy mill? Stud services, you get less headache. So he's doing it the right way, and I mean that's a whole nother conversation. But point is, I ask people all the time, so what's the business? Mine is education. So as you watch Fit Bully TV, I teach. I said, foundation, I'm a teacher. What does a teacher do? Picks up a book, writes a syllabus, highlights certain subjects, and then shows you how to apply. And this is the application of this information based on the things that I read. Read, write, and apply. I write it all down, and then I put it in some type of format where you're digitally watching, and, you know, hopefully it adds value. And I never provide, you know, this is what you do. I'm like, here's some information. Here's the books. Go read for yourself. Don't do anything you see me do. That's what I say in most videos.
You know what's interesting, man? My twin brother is a.
Oh shit! You got a twin now. That's crazy.
Yeah. No, we look different. Listen, we can't trick no female. Like, okay, baby, I was the same guy yesterday. No, trust me. I know I got a little birthmark here, but I'm the same guy. We can't do that, right? But the people who know him know that he's academically gifted, right? He can graduate out of college in 3 years, skip 9th grade. But when it comes to common sense, he just, you know, he's not there, right? But he told me something. He's a Yogi Berra quoting motherfucker, right? And one thing he told me, he said, man, reading is powerful. And I go back to that where I remember you was doing a breakdown on what the bully is all mixed with Stafford Terrier. I'm checking it out. And I'm looking, I got my glasses on, all right? I'm looking, and I'm like, you got this fucking book, right? You got sticky notes, like, okay, right here. I said, this brother reads.
They all over the house, man.
Yes. And I'm gonna tell you, you can tell a lot about a person on how the way they write and they're reading. Like this guy told me in the gym a long time ago, he said, if your kid loves to read, learning will be easy.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. That's you know, Robert F. Smith, one of the Black African-American billionaires who manages $1.3 trillion in assets. One of the things he hopes to leave behind for his children is a curiosity that he hopes to pass on. And that's what is the difference between where you're at and where you're going, is at some point we stop inquiring about how to be different or make a difference in our lives because of whatever happened to us. And most people don't embrace the fact that it's happening for you to be better. So just food for thought there as you are going through whatever too, because depression's real, stress is real, losses are real, work is fucking real. What's
Yeah.
not real a lot of times is the time we have on this earth. What I mean is, it all comes to an end. So when you share a lot of stuff, like my truth is my truth. I ain't gonna be here long enough to give a shit about what none of y'all think anyway. And by the time I'm dead, who really cares? So what do I got to lose? Nothing. Because
Yeah.
even all the stuff we gain, even if I get to $1 billion and build hospitals, all that stuff, it's just things. And yeah, I made a difference in the world. That woman who called while we was on here earlier, she's calling because you got a 12-year-old. I need you to help make a difference in his life. That's the point of it. So you go, I'm that impactful, but I have nothing to hide, because when we start hiding things, we start losing a sense of who we are, and then we struggle with who we want to become.
Yeah.
And I'm clear about who I have to become. So that's why I don't want to even practice them habits, man.
Well, listen, man, me and you can do this all motherfucking day long.
Yeah.
I'm not bullshitting you, but we got to shut it down at some point tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So I want to say, man, I'm flying out to Dallas. I'm using you as a reason to fly out. Okay. I'm flying to Dallas, and we're going to do a on-site recording. Miles is going to come with me. Your guys going to be there. We're going to do a little show together. Informative, non-scripted, raw. It's going to be edited, but it's going to be raw, right? And we're going to talk about some real shit, but it's going to go far beyond just dog stuff,
Yeah.
So until then, people, thanks for tuning in. And always, and don't forget now, go to Fit Bully TV, Fit Bully Kennels on Instagram. This dude got some great information, man. And I was fortunate and blessed enough for you even to pick up and read my message about, hey, as a matter of fact, I voicemailed just like, fuck all that texting shit. Right? I said, man, let's make this shit happen. It would just so happen that Rich was already telling you about me. And I was like, damn, how the shit aligned, man. It was dope.
Yeah, no, it was, man. It was. And, I always get to them. So I'm always glad when I see people like you have got that candor and excitement. So I was excited. Hell, I'm excited because I'm just like, oh, yeah, we can make a difference. And that's what I'm interested in, most interested in. So I cannot wait for you to get here and us to have a fucking blast. And I mean, how else to have fun fucking with dogs, man? I mean,
that's right. And then go to Papa Do's after that.
Say less, man. I appreciate you, my friend.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, man. Peace.